I'm here with.
Walt Patton.
Okay. Now, Walt, tell me who you are, what you do. What's up?
All right, so again, I'm Walt Patton. I'm born and raised in the Central community, as we call it, down the way projects. I'm a fourth generation from my great grandma Lula Patton to Barbara Patton, Tracy Patton, now me. I've been here my entire life. Lonnie Burley Breakfast, where we at. The
Hey.
Dwayne Brother football field was one of my mentors. I played football here, attended all the schools from East Tech to Central Middle School to Alfred A. Bennett.
Yes.
And I'm the creator of a mental health therapy service, which was created directly across the walk from us in the middle yard, called Ghetto Therapy.
What is the wildest, most unexpected place you found inspiration for all of the work and all of the movement building that you do?
The wildest place that I found inspiration for the work. Oh man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't consider this to be a wild space, but directly in the middle of the projects, like in the middle of a fight where everybody from every neighborhood be like 30 on 30 fights, right? And at that time, this guy hit me upside of the head. It was so hard. And
Damn.
in that moment, I knew like this ain't for me. I'm going to do some positive.
Like I ain't doing this shit.
I'm doing some positive stuff. So after he hit me in the back of the head and it hurt it so much, I slept on it. That was the wildest space because I'm like, it's time to do something good because that was the inspiration.
Yeah.
It got me to something positive. So I would say in the middle of a fight, right in the projects, like that was the wildest time I had.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that's yeah, because if a nigga knock you out, then what?
It was almost there, like,
yeah, but I'm glad that you made that decision right in that moment, honey. Some of y'all also need to make those decisions. You need to pivot. You know what I'm saying? Be inspired, okay? If you had to describe your creative or your art style using only 3 pop culture references, what would they be and why?
Pop culture references.
So that can be like songs, that can be like events, that can be people. I gotta think about that too.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say one word would be, let me see, I would say, I've been listening to a lot of Drake lately, so Iceman. Right? So I can see where he come from with that because it's like he feel like there's so many people against him, and it's just him against 20 different people, and he's like his back up is up against the wall. So coming from the projects, it's like we always get to these spaces where we get blackballed, and just because we're from a certain area, we don't get those resources. You get what I'm saying? Because we are the actual people that they're profiting from. So it's like my back has always been up against the wall when I'm starting doing the work, when I say where I'm from. So I would say for one, Iceman, that's like Drake's latest album.
Okay, Iceman.
If that can count for one.
Okay, that counts.
Savage. Is that a good one? Like 21 Savage? Or because like doing this work, you gotta at some point you come in with a good heart. You come in, you want to love everybody. You want to collaborate with everybody, which I've done. I've collaborated with everybody that's doing something positive.
Nah, for real.
Right? But then when you get to the point where it's like you start getting funded and the money started to come in and the people started to compete with you. And it's like the love kind of leave. You still have it, but then you got to become sort of a savage in order to stay sustainable. They're going to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So I would say Iceman album from Drake, Savage. So I think the last one, and I'm just thinking of culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Basquiat. So Basquiat came in as Same Old, right? Wow. And that was the guy, that was his name, Same Old with the cussing word. And nobody gave this man no attention for real. He was always talented. He was always lit. He was in, I think, the Bronx or Brooklyn.
Yep.
And he was young.
Yep.
And I asked this question to all the artists. Do you think that without a white cosign, that you will be able to be sustainable in the arts community? Right? Because it wasn't until Andy Warhol came into the life of Basquiat is when he became this popular artist.
Child.
So it's like I kind of compare that to
that's real
what we're going through in the city of Cleveland, like with these arts organizations that have these spaces and this amount of funding, and they giving it to the artists, but it's only because they need the artists to fill their spaces. So it's like in order for us to be successful and sustainable as Black artists in the city, we have to collaborate with these other cultures and races who care nothing about us. It's just shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
They don't care about the stories that we got to the art.
Yeah.
But they care about the art. So it's like, don't tell the story, just dribble. And that's what I mean by Same Old and Basquiat, because it wasn't until Andy Warhol came into his life when he became popular. But he always was lit.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because I mean, I think that's very important. I think, we've both experienced, I would say trauma. you know, just keeping it real, trauma within the nonprofit spaces here in Cleveland. I would say from my perspective, you know, you can do this amount. You can't outshine the org. You can't outshine this white person. You can't, you can't. And in the meanwhile, we're just being our authentic selves. We're not doing anything outside of our normal, but our normal is still comes off as a threat. Just who we are, what we do, how we represent ourselves, how we take care of community, how we have connections in community. That is a lot of times when these organizations bring you in, these entities bring you in, that is why they love you until they see like, oh, this is real. This is not a gimmick. This is just authentically who they are. How can we replicate this, or how can we shut this down? That's been my experience. Absolutely. Transparently. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I feel like when you born and raised in these kind of spaces like the ghetto and the projects in Huff and St. Clair and Kinsman, the West Side, East Cleveland, when you born in them spaces, automatically in school systems, environment, you're not like, it's not being advocated for to create change in community. It's either rap, it's football or basketball, get a job or go to college, but they never teach you about creating environmental justice. And what I've learned is that that's the most sustainable thing you can do, because the environment dictates our life expectancy.
Absolutely.
So the minute that we begin to start trying to expand our life expectancy on our own, that's when the problem comes.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, y'all can just chill, relax, allow us to come from these suburban communities, create these nonprofits, the things that we learned inside of our school system, and teach y'all and give y'all the game and tell y'all what y'all need for y'all environment. But when we figure the game out and we learn and we start taking control of the resources, that's when the issues come. It's like they want us to continue to stay beneath them, beneath the poverty line, beneath the people that's coming from these suburban schools and teaching us nonprofit or creating solutions for us. It's like they want us to stay beneath that. And it's like when you start climbing and you start making a name for yourself and you have influence inside of these communities and people start to follow you.
And they trust you, right?
They trust you.
And these entities prey on that. P-R-E-Y. Okay. And it's just like you said, coming into it, you got this good heart, you want to serve, you genuinely want to change lives, because that's your purpose, that's what you're supposed to do. And like you try to do anything else, it don't feel good. But this is where, the home of the work is. And it's just like feeling stifled by entities is a real thing. And I would ask, like, how do we get out of that? What because that is a factor. What do we do to maintain our income and our sanity and our souls? What do you think that looks like for leaders on the ground?
I think collaboration and combining resources. So that way, if it's me, Ghetto Therapy, and I get a certain amount of money, I got a bag, and I'm spending all of my money on Ghetto Therapy, then it's dead after the year, because they like, okay, this making real influence. We not funding him no more. He dead after that. But if you collaborating, then you exchanging resources and you exchanging funding, and that way we saving at the end of the day, because I'm not just doing everything, he not just doing everything, she not just doing everything. We collaborating and we putting that funding together. So I think the most important thing to stay sustainable is collaboration, partnerships. It's like I always think about, like, with the stakeholders, right? So even with Cleveland Clinic, when I partner with them, I don't have a space, I don't own a space, right? But I can partner with a stakeholder like Cleveland Clinic or Environmental Health Watch, and they provide the space for free. Because what I'm doing is I'm bringing in residents, I'm bringing in data, but you guys are providing the space, and that's how the collaboration works. So with the residents and the stakeholders, that's collaboration. It's all community, but we have to continue to find ways that we don't have to just dish out what they give, and kind of stack and save by partnering with stakeholders. I think. So collaboration is one of them.
Yeah, and I think there's another part to this conversation where I want to explore, with you and other leaders on how to collaborate, not just with the entities, but on the ground.
For sure.
You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, stay tuned for that. All right. If your art, your work, what you do could speak for itself, what's the one message that it would say, not just to Cleveland, but the world?
Be proud of where you're from, no matter where you come from. Be proud of it, and always research your environment. And what I mean by research my environment, like when I created Ghetto Therapy, I was doing research in like seeds and literature. I was doing different researches of like place matters. And I was finding out that the residents in Lyndhurst lives 28 years longer than the residents on Huffman inside the central community.
Yeah.
I found out that 93% of this, in the Caesar literature, it was in 2017, that they were talking about 93% of the central Kinsman community was illiterate. So what I found out and what I did through that was just start trying to create a mental health therapy service based off of like, how do we combat those issues? How do we expand our life expectancy? How do we raise our, our literacy rate? And it was just through a mental health therapy service. I feel like everything starts mental. So my advice would to be happy and be proud of where you're from, but also research your environment and create solutions for your own environment before somebody from another environment come and create them for you.
So, you created Ghetto Therapy, which has impacted people that probably never even heard the word therapy before, or, mental health, wellness, and everything. What are some mental health challenges that you've dealt with, and what were some of the things that got you through them? Because that's real. I've struggled as an adolescent. I struggle with depression still to now, having babies, postpartum depression. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. It is very normal. It is very real. And I think we as a community, Black people, are talking about it more, like what we're dealing with. So what were some of those things that you dealt with, and, how are you still working on, because healing is a lifelong journey, right?
It is, yeah.
So what does that healing journey look like for you?
That's what I always say. I say, if anybody coming to Ghetto Therapy to heal completely, you in the wrong space.
Yeah.
Because of 37 years, I'm 37 years old, I've had 37 years of trauma. So there's no way in 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year of therapy, I'm gonna heal from 37 years of trauma.
Yeah.
But the goal is to always put yourself in position to minimize the amount of trauma you intake. Right. So I'm always in spaces of healing. I'm always in spaces of healing. And that's what I want to provide with Ghetto Therapy, is just that space so you can minimize the amount of trauma that you intake. But it's not to completely heal, because we will never, right?
Yeah, it's a lifelong
But it's also built for the kids that's coming up under, like my kids. I got 3 young boys that's 6, 7, and 1. Now they growing up in spaces of therapy to where they may not ever experience the trauma that I have, but they also have the tools to combat the trauma that they're facing.
Yeah.
So it's like to grow up with that. And some of the things I faced inside of these projects, like the reason why I'm at a high anxiety, depression level, I was diagnosed in prison when I was in North Central, is because of the neighborhood brawls, the shootouts. I lost my best friend, Lenore Pinson, at 17 years old. He was murdered directly behind us in the field across from Lonnie Burton. He was shot in the head from a rival gang, a rival neighborhood. And that was one of the first things. And then we lost another young guy by the name of Lorenzo Hunter, which was a football player. He went to Benedictine, won a state championship, a star wide receiver, was getting recruited from Kansas State, Ohio State. I'm talking about, this kid was 6'4", 180 pounds at 15. Wow. And he was going to the NFL, and wasn't no doubt about it. He was articulate, was happy, and he was murdered. And he was murdered because he had a toy gun, and him and some friends was pulling a prank and pulling robberies, and he got killed. So those are the type of things that created anxiety for me inside of these neighborhoods, being in shootouts, seeing my best friends get stabbed, you seeing them bleed out, and seeing the white meat.
Lord have mercy.
And this is young. We 15, 16 years old. This is stuff that you see in the war. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing this on a day-to-day basis. Every community that you see, it's 8 projects probably surrounded here, and everybody 30, 40 deep. And we just come together like 300 the movie, and we just brawl out. And that was traumatizing, because if you didn't help, when you got back to your neighborhood, they was going to beat you up. You know what I'm saying?
Lord have mercy.
You had to fight. And I think that's what created a lot of anxiety, depression for me, trying to overcome this, trying to stay sustainable and get some money, and doing the stuff that my older guys doing, trying to sell drugs, knowing I'm not good at it.
Right.
But just trying to be relevant in the community and trying to take care of my kids. I was a teenage parent at 17.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Walt, for being with me. I got mad love for you,
Sure.
We've been down for a minute. It's been a long time. So thank you for sharing your testimony with me. Be in community. Don't forget to be encouraged, and find a way to collaborate with your neighbor. Peace and love. Thank you.
This is Street Story Media.